The T-72 is by far one of the most recognizable tanks in the world, and it's served in several conflicts spanning the globe, operating in several harsh and austere environments. Armed with a 125mm cannon, a 7.62 machine gun, and a laser rangefinder, the T-72M is a formidable foe, and it's the export version of the T-72A. However, the laser rangefinder does not have lead compensation, so the T-72M compensates with having heavy frontal armor designed to tank the 105mm rounds from the M60. However, there are a few challenges the T-72M must overcome. It's fantastic at engaging stationary targets from a stationary position due to its low profile, heavy frontal composite armor. This makes it a fantastic defensive weapon system that any commander or tanker is going to enjoy. Next, there are a few quirks to the T-72 that must be covered. The laser rangefinder is unique and it varies from tank to tank due to its placement. Lastly, since it doesn't have range compensation, it leans on what's known as the Delta D system. The Delta D system is something that's unique to the T-72. It can be both enabled and disabled. And if you want to hear more about it, we're about to dive into an in-depth analysis of the T-72 coming up right now. Now we're going to go over the fire control systems that are in the T-72M. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hit the F3 key to get in our commander's position, and then we're going to hit the shift key to get into the gunner's sight. That red dot in the middle of the screen is our laser rangefinder. One of the unique features about the T-72M is that this laser rangefinder is mounted individually, so every time you'll spawn in, it will be in a different location, and as you can see now, it's over in the lower right hand corner of that triangle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to range some targets, and we're going to hit E to accomplish that task. And as you can see up at the top of the monitor, we are ranged at 1200 meters or 1235. So we're going to put our sight on target right there, and we're going to fire our first round. But before we do that, we're going to hit the 2 key, and that's going to set up high explosive anti-tanks to be reloaded next, and I'm going to explain why we're going to do that now. So let's put the first round through the target. So as we reload this high explosive anti-tank round, I want you to watch the sight and see what happens. It's just going to be a few moments. As you can see, the laser rangefinder immediately compensates for the new ammunition that's been placed into the tank. So now we need to move our sight up, and it's still range for that 1200 meters, and we're going to keep the high explosive anti-tank in. So one thing we can do is we can range it a bit further. We can hit E. It's going to drop our sight to 1500 meters, around 1575. We're going to bring our sight up. We're going to hit 1. So our next round that's going to be loaded is a Sabo. So let's put 1 round down range. A solid hit. We're going to watch the sight one more time. And then once it's loaded, we're going to witness the sight move again. As you can see, it compensates, but that's not one of the more unique factors of the T-72. Also, it's worth noting that there is no lead compensation. So if we range that target right there, the moving one, and we put a round in down range, it does not compensate for that target's movement. So unfortunately, the T-72 is still going to be outclassed by the M60 and the M1. All right, I want you to watch that dial all the way at the top of the screen. This is called the Delta D, and as you see, as we move the T-72 forward and backward, it adjusts the range. It adjusts our range for us, so it's almost like lead compensation. However, it only adjusts it when we move forward and backward, and it doesn't compensate for moving targets. So let's say we wanted to range that target way out there. So if we hit E, all right, we're now ranged for 1562. But let's say we start backing up, our Delta D is going to take over, and it's going to increase our range 1565, 68, and as you can see, that dial at the top of our screen is moving. So we can continue to back up, put a round down range, and it's still going to hit that target. So similar to like the lead drop, if we hit Control E, it's going to deactivate that system. As you can see over in the lower left-hand corner, Delta D is now disabled. So anytime we move, that dial is no longer going to move. If we hit the range, it's going to re-enable our Delta D. So let's say we designate that target at 1572. Our Delta D is re-enabled, round down range, hit Control E, And we can start backing up. Delta D is now disabled, which means the laser rangefinder is no longer compensating for our movement. And now we're still range at 1572. We continue to back up. Sights on target. Put a round down range. It should not hit, but it may because we only moved around 15 meters. So that's just worth noting. If we moved around 100 meters, obviously there would be some compensation. All right, next thing we're going to cover is eye. So as you see, eye illuminates the target or your gun sight. Super simple. So an early, like when the sun's going down or early morning operations, you may not want to toggle your night sight, but you can toggle your illumination because the sun is still out. Also, now we're going to talk about, we're going to unilluminate. We're going to discuss our 7.62 heavy machine gun with an effective range of around 4,000 meters, but we can only shoot up to 1,800. So we can designate a target real quick. Let's say this one right here with the laser rangefinder. Let's go to adjust our sights to 12-27. However, that doesn't target our 7.62 coxile machine gun or coaxial. So what we need to do is we need to move our sight up to where that 1200's on it, right there. And we'll just put it right in the center. One thing I've noticed, it feels like it's 200 meters off. So let's continue, let's advance to 1300. And we're going to just continue to walk it. We're still quite short. And just like that, like I said, it feels almost like it's around 200 meters off, which is worth noting for the T-72. And obviously you do have your manual sight over there on this right-hand side if your vehicle gets disabled. All right, and then the next thing we're going to talk about is the night vision sight. So in order to do this more in detail, we're going to go into a night operation because unfortunately we can't discuss it very well because it's not going to allow us to view the IR flashlight, which is something that's really important when discussing the IR sight. So we're going to do that now. All right, everyone, welcome back. Now we find ourselves in a night operation. Remember, we need to hit the shift key to get in our gunner sight and hit T to switch to our night sight. Then we need to hit Q and turn on our IR flashlight or our spotting sight. This is only effective up to 800 meters. And as you can see right here, it is challenging to use, especially on night maps. And we'll be facing down M60s, which have thermals, as well as some other weapon systems that could outclass us. However, we do have heavy composite armor, so we should be able to tank a few rounds to the front. So as long as we keep our front facing the enemy, we may be able to absorb those 105 rounds. So if we hit E, we can kind of range those targets. Remember that we don't have lead compensation, so we kind of just need to guess where these units are and hopefully hit them as they move in closer. The IR sight's really effective up to 800 meters, and this is by far one of the more challenging tasks. I think we're leading too much, and our right track's been disabled. Alright, that was stopped by terrain. We're going to rotate our sight, see what we can see. Hit tab. It looks like we've been disabled. Overall, it's one of the more challenging missions. That's actually our sight's been disabled. And we lost power. So yeah, we are completely taken out. Overall, an extremely challenging mission, but that's how the night sight works. Alright guys, peace.